What if one of the most gifted football players in history never reached the heights everyone expected? A boy who dazzled the streets of Brazil, became the Prince of Santos, conquered Europe with Barcelona, and was once seen as the future king of football. Yet despite his extraordinary talent, world record transfer, and global fame, something changed. Injuries, pressure, expectations, and controversial decisions slowly transformed one of football's brightest stars into one of its biggest what-if stories. Today, we're exploring the incredible rise of Neymar, and the beginning of the journey that changed everything. Hello everyone, and welcome back to English Orbit. If you enjoy improving your English through fascinating biographies and real-life stories, then you're in the right place. Today's documentary explores the life of one of football's most talented and entertaining players. For many fans, Neymar possessed the skills to become the greatest footballer of his generation. Others believe that injuries, expectations, and career choices prevented him from reaching his full potential. Whatever your opinion, there is no denying that Neymar's journey has become one of the most talked about stories in modern football. A boy from Brazil. Neymar da Silva Santos Jr. was born on February 5, 1992, in Mogi das Cruzes, a city in the Brazilian state of São Paulo. Like millions of Brazilian children, football was more than just a game. It was a dream. His father, Neymar Santos Sr., had once hoped to become a professional footballer himself. Although he never achieved that dream, he quickly realized that his son possessed something special. From an early age, young Neymar amazed everyone around him. He could dribble past older children with ease. His quick feet, balance, creativity, and confidence made him stand out wherever he played. The streets became his first football academy. Every match helped him develop the fearless style that would later make him famous across the world. A family that believed in his dream. Unlike many young players who grow up without support, Neymar's family stood firmly behind him. His father became his first coach, mentor, and later his career manager. The family made many sacrifices to help him succeed. Money was often limited, but they believed football could completely change their future. As Neymar's talent became more obvious, local clubs began taking notice. It didn't take long before one of Brazil's biggest football clubs came calling. The rise of a wonderkid. At just 11 years old, Neymar joined the youth academy of Santos FC, the same legendary club where Pelé had begun his incredible career. The expectations were enormous. But Neymar seemed born for the spotlight. Every year, he improved faster than players around him. His speed, his dribbling, his confidence, and his ability to score spectacular goals made him one of Brazil's brightest young talents. Even European clubs started watching him before he had made his professional debut. One of those clubs was Real Madrid. Reports later revealed that Neymar even trained with the Spanish giants as a teenager. But Santos convinced him to stay in Brazil a little longer. Looking back, that decision would prove crucial for his development, becoming Brazil's new hero. In 2009, at only 17 years old, Neymar made his professional debut for Santos. Almost immediately, fans realized they were watching a special player. He played with joy, confidence, and imagination. He attempted skills that many professionals wouldn't even dare to try. Defenders struggled to stop him. Crowds filled stadiums just to watch him play. Within only a few seasons, Neymar became the biggest football star in Brazil. The media began comparing him to Pelé. While such comparisons placed enormous pressure on the young forward, they also showed how highly people rated his talent. The return of Santos. In 2011, Neymar achieved one of the biggest milestones of his early career. He helped Santos win the Copa Libertadores, South America's most prestigious club competition. It was the club's first Libertadores title since Pelé's era. Neymar was named one of the tournament's best players. His performances attracted worldwide attention. European clubs were no longer simply interested. They were preparing to fight for his signature. Every major football team wanted him. Barcelona, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Manchester City. Everyone knew that Brazil's next superstar was ready for Europe. The only question was, where would he go? The dream moved to Barcelona. In 2013, Neymar made the biggest decision of his young career. He signed for FC Barcelona, joining one of the greatest clubs in football history. The transfer immediately became one of the biggest stories in world football. At Barcelona, Neymar wasn't joining an ordinary team. He would play alongside Lionel Messi, already considered by many the greatest footballer in history. For some young players, that situation might have been intimidating. For Neymar, it became the perfect opportunity to learn. During his first season, he adapted to European football. The pace was faster. The defenders were stronger. Every match demanded perfection. But Neymar improved quickly. His confidence never disappeared. Instead, he became stronger with every game. The MSN era. Everything changed in 2014 when Barcelona's famous attacking trio came together. Lionel Messi, Luis Suarez, Neymar. Together, they formed one of the greatest attacking partnerships football has ever seen. Fans simply called them MSN. The chemistry between the three players was extraordinary. Messi created chances. Suarez scored goals. Neymar brought speed, creativity, and unpredictability. Defenders across Europe struggled to stop them. In the 2014-15 season, Barcelona won the historic treble. La Liga, the Copa del Rey, and the UEFA Champions League. Neymar scored in the Champions League final against Juventus. At only 23 years old, he had already won nearly every major club trophy. Many football experts believe the future belonged to him. For the first time since the rise of Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo, the football world believed it had finally found their successor. The shadow of greatness. Although Neymar was becoming one of the world's best players, one challenge remained. He played alongside Lionel Messi. No matter how brilliantly Neymar performed, the spotlight almost always returned to Messi. Journalists praised Neymar's talent, but they still described him as Messi's teammate. For a player with dreams of becoming the best in the world, that wasn't easy. Neymar respected Messi deeply. The two shared a close friendship. But inside, he also wanted to build his own legacy. He wanted to win the Ballon d'Or. He wanted to become football's #1 player. And slowly, a new idea began to grow. What if he left Barcelona? What if he built his own team? What if he stepped out of Messi's shadow once and for all? It was a decision that would shock the football world, and eventually change the course of his career forever. A new king in Paris. In the summer of 2017, the football world witnessed something that had never happened before. Paris Saint-Germain paid €222 million to activate Neymar's release clause from Barcelona. It became the most expensive transfer in football history. The move shocked fans, players, and football experts around the world. Many believed Neymar had finally taken the biggest step of his career. At Barcelona, he was part of Messi's team. At PSG, he would become the main star. The club wanted him to lead them to their first UEFA Champions League title. For Neymar, this was more than a transfer. It was a chance to prove that he could become the best footballer in the world. The pressure was enormous. So were the expectations. A brilliant start. Neymar adapted to French football almost immediately. He scored goals, created chances, and entertain fans with the same creativity that had made him famous at Santos and Barcelona. Every time he touched the ball, supporters expected something special. His dribbling was still magical. His passing remained world-class. And his ability to change a match in a single moment reminded everyone why PSG had spent a record-breaking amount to sign him. During his first season, he looked unstoppable. Many believed the Ballon d'Or was finally within his reach. But then, everything changed. The injury curse. In February 2018, Neymar suffered a serious foot injury. It forced him to miss the most important matches of the season, including crucial Champions League games. It wasn't just one injury. It became a pattern. Season after season, injuries returned. Sometimes it was his ankle. Sometimes his foot. Each recovery seemed to be followed by another setback. Every time Neymar built momentum, another injury stopped him. Supporters became frustrated. Critics began asking difficult questions. Could his body handle the demands of modern football? Or was the world's most expensive player becoming increasingly unreliable? The Champions League dream. PSG's main goal was never just winning the French league. The club wanted the UEFA Champions League. That was why Neymar had been signed. Each season began with enormous hope. Each season ended with disappointment. Although PSG reached the Champions League final in 2020, they lost to Bayern Munich. Neymar played well throughout much of that campaign, but the dream remained unfinished. For many football fans, this defeat became another painful reminder that his greatest ambition was slipping away. The Ballon d'Or seemed further away than ever. Fame beyond football. As Neymar's popularity grew, so did his celebrity status. He became one of the most followed athletes on social media. Major brands signed sponsorship deals with him. He appeared in advertisements, fashion events, and entertainment programs. His lifestyle attracted constant media attention. Vacations, parties, luxury cars, designer clothing. Everything he did made headlines. Many supporters admired his confidence and personality. Others believed that football was no longer his only priority. Whether fair or unfair, public perception began to change. Instead of discussing only his performances on the pitch, people increasingly talked about his life away from football. Criticism continues to grow. Football has always celebrated creativity. But Neymar's style also attracted criticism. Some opponents accused him of exaggerating fouls. Others believed he spent too much time arguing with referees. Every mistake received worldwide attention. Every injury created new debates. Every disappointing result placed more pressure on his shoulders. Being the world's most expensive footballer meant living under constant scrutiny. No matter how well he played, the expectations remained even higher. The shadow of Messi and Ronaldo. When Neymar left Barcelona, many believed he would become football's next dominant superstar after Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. But as the years passed, that dream became increasingly difficult. Messi continued winning major trophies. Cristiano Ronaldo continued breaking records. Meanwhile, Neymar struggled with injuries and inconsistent availability. His talent was never questioned. Almost everyone agreed he remained one of the most gifted players of his generation. The real question became different. Could he stay healthy long enough to fulfill his incredible potential? Messi arrives in Paris. In 2021, another unexpected moment changed Neymar's career. Lionel Messi joined Paris Saint-Germain. The two friends were reunited alongside Kylian Mbappé, creating another world-famous attacking trio. Fans expected history to repeat itself. But reality was different. Although they produced moments of brilliance, PSG once again failed to win the Champions League. Instead of becoming the undisputed leader of the club, Neymar found himself sharing the spotlight once again. For some observers, it felt like history repeating itself. The opportunity to completely step out of Messi's shadow had become even more complicated. The dream begins to fade. As injuries continued, criticism increased. Questions about Neymar's future became louder. Had he made the right decision by leaving Barcelona? Would he have won more Champions League titles if he had stayed? Could he have claimed the Ballon d'Or in a different environment? No one could answer those questions with certainty. But one thing was clear. Time was no longer on his side. The football world that had once called him the future king of the game was beginning to wonder whether his greatest years had already passed. And then, another decision surprised everyone. A decision that would end his European chapter and begin an entirely new one. The final chapter, legacy and the truth behind the story. Leaving Europe. By the summer of 2023, it had become clear that Neymar's journey with Paris Saint-Germain was coming to an end. After 6 seasons, countless memorable moments, several league titles, and repeated injury setbacks, both the club and the player decided it was time for a new beginning. Neymar accepted an offer from Al Hilal in Saudi Arabia. The transfer became one of the biggest stories in football. Some fans believed he was chasing a fresh challenge. Others argued that, at just 31 years old, he was leaving Europe's top level too soon. Whatever the reason, one thing was certain. The player who had once been expected to dominate European football was saying goodbye to the continent where legends are made. Many supporters hoped that a new league would allow him to play without constant pressure and finally enjoy football again. Another heartbreak. Unfortunately, Neymar's fresh start did not last long. While representing Brazil in a World Cup qualifying match in October 2023, he suffered one of the most serious injuries of his career. He tore the anterior cruciate ligament, ACL, in his left knee and also damaged his meniscus. The injury required surgery and a long period of rehabilitation. Once again, football fans around the world watched one of the game's greatest talents leave the pitch in tears. For years, injuries had interrupted his career. Now they had become one of the defining stories of it. Every comeback demanded months of hard work. Every return raised the same question. Could Neymar ever return to his very best? The Brazilian dream. For Neymar, wearing Brazil's famous yellow jersey had always been one of his greatest motivations. From his teenage years, the nation believed he would lead Brazil back to World Cup glory. He produced unforgettable performances. He scored spectacular goals. He became one of Brazil's all-time leading goal scorers. Yet one achievement always remained out of reach: winning the FIFA World Cup. Brazil came close on several occasions, but disappointment followed every campaign. Sometimes it was defeat. Sometimes it was injury. Sometimes it was simply football's unpredictable nature. Despite his incredible individual talent, the greatest prize in international football remained beyond his reach. Was it really self-destruction? Many people describe Neymar's career as a story of wasted potential. Others strongly disagree. The truth is more complicated. There is no doubt that Neymar made bold career decisions. Leaving Barcelona was one of the biggest risks any footballer had ever taken. Some believe it was the right decision because it allowed him to become the central figure of a major club. Others argue that staying alongside Lionel Messi might have brought him more Champions League trophies, and perhaps even the Ballon d'Or. His lifestyle also attracted constant attention. Media coverage often focused on vacations, parties, and social events. Supporters sometimes questioned whether these distractions affected his football. At the same time, many former teammates and coaches praised Neymar's commitment during training and highlighted how much effort he invested in recovering from injuries. Perhaps the greatest challenge wasn't his lifestyle alone. It was the combination of enormous expectations, repeated injuries, relentless media attention, and the pressure of carrying both club and country on his shoulders. Football history is filled with talented players. Very few have had to live under the spotlight that followed Neymar throughout his career. The legacy of a generational talent. Regardless of differing opinions, one fact is impossible to ignore. Neymar remains one of the most naturally gifted footballers of his generation. His dribbling thrilled millions. His creativity inspired young players across the world. His goals and assists helped every major club he represented achieve success. At Santos, he revived one of Brazil's most historic clubs. At Barcelona, he formed the legendary MSN trio with Lionel Messi and Luis Suarez, helping the club win a historic treble. At Paris Saint-Germain, he contributed to multiple domestic titles and played a key role in the club's first-ever UEFA Champions League final appearance. For Brazil, he became one of the country's greatest goal scorers and one of the defining footballers of his era. Whether people consider him an underachiever or a legend, his influence on modern football cannot be denied. The lessons from Neymar's journey. Neymar's story teaches us several important lessons. The first is that extraordinary talent alone does not guarantee legendary success. Hard work, health, timing, and difficult decisions all shape a career. The second lesson is that expectations can become a heavy burden. From the age of 17, Neymar was constantly compared with Pelé. Later, he was expected to replace Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo as football's greatest player. Those expectations would have challenged anyone. Finally, his career reminds us how quickly sport can change. One injury, one transfer, one decision. Sometimes that is enough to change history. The final verdict. So, did Neymar destroy his own career? The answer depends on who you ask. Some believe poor career choices prevented him from becoming the greatest player of his generation. Others believe injuries robbed him of the future he deserved. Perhaps the truth lies somewhere in the middle. Neymar did not fail. He achieved what millions of footballers can only dream of. He won major trophies. He became the world's most expensive player. He represented Brazil on the biggest stages. He inspired an entire generation with his unique style of football. But because his talent seemed limitless, people expected even more. That is why his career is often remembered not only for what he achieved, but also for what many believe he could have become. And perhaps that is the real story of Neymar. Not the story of failure, but the story of football's greatest. What if? And that brings us to the end of today's story. From the streets of Brazil to becoming the world's most expensive footballer, Neymar's journey has been filled with unforgettable brilliance, difficult setbacks, and endless debate. Whether you see him as a legend who inspired millions or as one of football's greatest what-if stories, his impact on the game is undeniable. Thank you for watching English Orbit. If you enjoyed this documentary, don't forget to like, subscribe, and let us know in the comments which football legend or historical figure you'd like us to cover next. Until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and we'll see you in the next documentary.